Welcome to GourmWade, the channel where I use my cookbooks that I own and have never used. We are interrupting your regularly scheduled programming to bring you a small, short Halloween series. I just thought this would be fun. I have this Halloween cookbook that I bought off of Amazon. Full disclosure, it says it's written by Ivy Frost. I can't 100% say that a real person wrote this cookbook, but it is what it is. I made the mistake. I ordered it off Amazon because I thought it'd be fun. Kind of questionable, but hey, here we are. We're going to be making two different recipes today just because I thought it'd be fun to make a cocktail and an appetizer, a nice Halloween cocktail, a nice Halloween appetizer. So we'll be making some witch's fingers, which are essentially kind of like a pig's in a blanket. And then we'll also be making a poison apple martini. Now, I don't own a martini glass, so don't expect it to be in the right glass, but I think these will be pretty fun to do. I thought, why not lean into the Halloween spirit? Let's get started. Okay, so here we are. We're going to start with our poison apple martini while we wait for puff pastry sheets to thaw. I'm just going to do it in my shaker here. I figure you can't go wrong with a wet shake and bake shaker. So we'll start. We need 2 ounces of apple vodka. So this here is the vodka I got. It's just a Smirnoff green apple. Nothing super special. But I do have my little measuring device here. I forget what it's called in this moment. But I'm going to go ahead and pour in 2 ounces. I gotta say, this smells pretty good. Better than I thought. And then we need an ounce of sour apple liqueur. So this is what we're using with a De Kuyper Pucker sour apple. Let's get this open. Ooh, it smells like candy. How fun. Let's measure out an ounce of that. Okay. I know we don't normally do this, but I thought, it's going to be so much fun. I'm not sure if I've been in frame. We're continuing. You would think that I'd already had stuff to drink, but I haven't. And then we need a half ounce of grenadine. So this is the grenadine I have. I just went ahead and bought most of this from the either the grocery store or the liquor store. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and measure a half ounce of that. And then we need an ounce of cranberry juice. I just have your regular ocean spray. We already have ice cubes in here. And I did put an ice cube in the glass that I'm going to be serving this in. So that's all of our ingredients for the drink. I'm going to go ahead, pop this on, shake this. I'm going to set that to the side really quick because now we need to do our garnish. Which, sure, maybe I should have done before I did that, but, better late than never. So what it is just a slice of green apple. So I've got this apple here, just a regular Granny Smith. I'm going to go ahead, slice it. Not the prettiest Granny Smith, but that's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a notch so that I can, perfect. So we just got that stuck on our glass here. And now it's time to try our cocktail. Maybe I should have poured this in first. And maybe I should have made the slice of apple smaller. But whatever. It just said slice it for garnish. Well, it technically says float a thin slice of green apple on top. That's not happening. I did that instead. I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to cut it really weird. And we'll go ahead and float it like that. But here's our drink. Ignore all of that. But here is our final drink. It smells just like green apple like a green apple Jolly Rancher. So I'm quite excited because those are really good. And that is exactly what it tastes like. This is fantastic. Good thing it's a Friday night because I'm going to have more than one of these. Yeah, I like it. It's good. It's a little bit sour. It's a little like It's got the sour, it's got the sweet. It really is everything you want. Do I think it's especially Halloweeny in this class? No, but that's on me. But the ingredients were really easy to get. Yes, I did have to go out and buy some special stuff because I don't normally cook with. I don't have these cocktail ingredients on hand a lot, so I had to buy those special. So just for that, I can't give it a 10 just because I did have to spend some extra money on this. But was it easy? Was it fun? Is it good? Yes. So I'm going to give it a solid 9. I'll have more of these as the night goes on. We're going to finish waiting for our puff pastry sheets to thaw, and I'll see you guys when we're ready for the next recipe. And welcome back. So now we're here for the second recipe, the witch's fingers. Full disclosure, I have had like 3 of those cocktails, so we're going to have a good time. Those are delicious. The only thing that could make them better is if they tasted like a blue Jolly Rancher. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Let's get started on these witch's fingers. So it's gonna be basically a pigs in a blanket, but instead of the crescent roll, we're gonna be using puff pastry sheets. So I just bought these like Nathan hot dogs. That's what I normally buy, just because I always find them on BOGO. And how can you not? Like, why would you not buy them if they're BOGO? You know. And I think they're a perfectly fine hot dog. So we're gonna use these. I might end up cutting them a little bit shorter, but you know, I'm not really sure what we're doing here. I've read the recipe, but now I forget the recipe. So that's where we are. We have our puff pastry here. It's been thawing. I'm still a little worried about, you know, we've not had great luck with puff pastry in the past. So I don't really know what to tell you. But I'm going to go get a rolling pin secured. I'm going to go ahead and roll this out just a little bit. It does say to roll on a lightly floured surface. I'm rolling on a cutting board. I don't care. That's what we're getting to tonight. Now we need to cut in 1-inch strips. And I don't really know how big 1 inch is. I was always taught that like this is about 1 inch, but I think that's kind of a lie. But that's what I'm going to go with. This is my 1-inch strip. This feels like it's not quite thawed all the way, but we're gonna go for it. And if it breaks, it breaks. And if it breaks, we'll just wait a little longer for it to thaw some more. But here's our hot dog. And really, you're just rolling this. Yeah, it's already broken. Every single roll has broken. Cool. Oh, this is not going well. Okay. We'll come back to this. That's finished. I'm going to let this thaw some more. I really thought these would be finished thawing, but apparently not. We need to be able to... I've got 2 sheets here. We need to be able to thaw these guys enough so that they roll around the hot dogs. So I guess I'll see you when we return, because that was an utter fail. Full disclosure, this has been thawing for about 35 minutes now, and I think the package said no more than 40 minutes. So I don't really know what has gone wrong, but something has gone very wrong. But we'll see you when we can do the next hot dog. Okay, so I think we have resolved our issue. It's been more like 45 minutes now. So I guess if you're doing this recipe, although I don't know why you have this cookbook, but if you're doing this kind of a recipe with the puff pastry instead of the crescent rolls, I would say thaw your puff pastry for about 45-50 minutes. That seems to be a lot better. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to roll this up kind of just like a pig's in a blanket, but we're trying to leave the end of the, I guess, quote unquote, finger exposed. So something like this, I have gone ahead and pretty much enclosed the end. So it looks like this. If I was really being finger accurate, sure, I could cut this a little more, but Witches can have long fingers. Who's to say? Not me. I don't know a witch, personally. I'm just going to go ahead, oops, and finish cutting these poorly. There we go. And then let me grab my next hot dog, and we're just going to do the same thing. Roll it at an angle. Maybe too much of an angle. Who knows? Not me. And this is kind of how I also make my pigs in the blanket. I think I went out of frame. But I just kind of push it together to make it one mass. With the pigs in the blanket, obviously you're have kind of more so both ends sticking out. But we want one end sticking out for the next part for the garnish. So I'm going to do the rest of these off camera, just the 3. Okay, so here's what our hot dogs look like. You can see I just have 6 on this pan. What, math got super hard just then. 6 on this pan, including the one that is absolutely terrible. I am assuming that these are going to puff up into each other, so you might not have the best end result, but sue me. Now we need to go ahead and get ready for the next step, which is kind of our garnish, which is what's going to make these witch fingers. Words have gotten so hard. Now the recipe did call for almonds sliced in half. I'm not doing that. I have these sliced almonds that I've just opened up, and what it says to do is to attach them with some ketchup. I'm going to do that to one. Honestly, this is just the ketchup I have. It's a Heinz. We all know Heinz is the best ketchup. That's not up for debate. What is up for debate is how much ketchup to use on the end. Yeah, I had a feeling. I was going to squirt out way too much ketchup. And then it says to just add it with some ketchup at the end. I honestly... Is that not going to fall off? See, that just seems like it's going to fall off to me. But we're going to do an experiment here. I'm going to go ahead, get a couple more almonds, attach them with some ketchup, knife in hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut like a small slit in the other 3 hot dogs. This is not what the recipe says to do. And you can see I'm just kind of cutting. It doesn't matter what way it goes. Let's be honest. These are not revolutionary recipes. So I've just kind of cut a slit in each of these hot dogs. I'm still going to use the ketchup. But what I'm going to do instead, it's really tough finding some like whole almonds in this bag. Maybe I should have bought whole almonds and I broke it. Let's try another one. We'll try this one. This is going to be a big fingernail. Okay, so what I'm doing is I still have the ketchup. Okay. I've got my ketchup on there. But what I'm going to actually try to do is squish in the almond. I don't know. This feels like it's a little sturdier to me. But I could be wrong. So here's our almond. We have ketchup. I think it's going well. Okay. And then I'm just going to find a third one. This looks like a good one. Get our ketchup. Oop, 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 oop. And then we're going to stick this in there. That's a wonky fingernail. Okay. So I guess these kind of look a little more like fingers than these, but I'm more so interested on how they're going to cook Uh, you know, maybe I should have cut. Whatever. We went off recipe on these. I am thinking maybe I should have. I'm going to do it to one. I'm going to remove the almond really quick. I'm going to remove a part of the hot dog. I still have my almond. Maybe that looks more like a finger. I'm going to eat that. Delicious. I'm going to go ahead and actually... Oh, okay. I broke that one. That one's going to stay. I'm going to try it with this one. I think that's the way to go. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my knife, cutting a little bit off, taking my almond and ketchup, and I'm sticking it in there, hoping that maybe that's going to be a little more finger-like than something like this. I don't actually know. But now we're ready for the next step. So our next step is to egg wash our puff pastry. So it gets a nice color to it. I've got my egg here. I'm just going to kind of try and get this as combined as possible. We don't have water in here. This is literally just one egg. Got my fork. I'm just whisking it together. I'm going to call that done. Brush. And I'm just going to baste the top of these with our egg wash. Don't mind this one. I know this is ugly. I could have gone back and fixed it. Guess what? I'm not. Too bad. So sad for that little finger. You know, we got 6 fingers. One of them has to be ugly. Maybe witches have 6 fingers. Who knows? That's a piece of lore that could be new. Welcome to GourmWade Halloween lore. Okay. There is that finger. And this is supposed to be for 8 hot dogs. Like I said, I'm only making 6 just because that's what's fitting on the pan. And then we're going to go ahead and put these in the oven at 375 for 15 to 20 minutes. When these are done, I will see you for the final taste test. Ooh, this looks like a finger. These are our witch's fingers, just pigs in a blanket, but instead of the crescent roll, we're using phyllo dough. I did go ahead just for the picture, kind of put some ketchup at the end, but I'm just going to go bite off from the tip. It's great. It's a pigs in a blanket. Let's be honest. We didn't invent anything new. We just used phyllo dough instead of crescent rolls. I can't say personally I really recognize a difference. Maybe the phyllo dough is a little crunchier, but I don't know if I have a preference between the two. I will say, personally, a lot of times when I find hot dogs on sale, I find the crescent rolls on sale, and that's when I bought these. So I do have crescent rolls in the fridge, but I wanted to try it with the phyllo dough. I think they're fine. I think they taste like a pigs in a blanket. So they're great. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Honestly, I had to buy the hot dogs anyways. The phyllo dough wasn't that much, was pretty much the same price as the crescent rolls. I am not here. That is what a lot of those cocktails will do to you. Sorry, mom and dad. I've had like 4. They're delicious. That's where it stops for the night. But I liked these. I think they're great. I would make them for a Halloween party. Not a problem. You can make a lot for a small amount of money. They taste good. They're easy to do. The recipe was easy to follow. The ingredients are easy to find. They get a 10 out of 10. The cocktail, that was delicious. It gets a 9 out of 10 just because you do have to kind of go and buy special ingredients that you definitely don't have on hand. If I don't have them on hand, I don't think most people have them on hand. But I think this is pretty successful for our first in the Halloween series. Join me for the next couple weeks as we work our way through this cookbook. Um, and by work our way, I mean I'm going to try to do an entree and then I'm going to try to do a dessert. And just so you have a whole Halloween meal. But I hope you guys have a good time. See you in the next one. Bye.